What's up, y'all? We decided to bless you with a part two of this episode. Not bless you sneezing, bless you as in part two of this episode of Shoe Booty Sports, 152. All right, so we talked a little fantasy football. Let's touch up on that a little bit. I'm 3-1. You're the same, right?
I'm 3-1 in both leagues. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so my wide receivers have just been devastated with injury. I've got Cooper Cup, I've got Rasheed Rice, I've got Devontae Smith, all of which, well, Devontae Smith, Cooper Cup didn't play. Rasheed Rice won't be playing probably for the rest of the year now. That still hasn't been confirmed, has it?
No, I've just seen it on some posts on Twitter. I haven't seen anything legit yet, or from anyone legit.
Yeah, nothing's been confirmed yet. So I don't want to drop him just yet. But there really aren't, even in my 10-team league, there's really nobody out there.
No,
The Yeah, to go get. I put in a
nope.
claim for Wandale something. Robinson, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember for the Giants. He's had two
Yeah,
good weeks. So,
yeah.
and he's gotten a lot of targets the last couple of weeks. So I was like, that's probably a good get. Apart from that, I don't know. There's no standout defense right now. The Vikings did look good until Sunday. They only put up 3 points. Uh, it's always hit or if you got a good kicker, just stick with them. There's really only a handful of those. Everybody else is kind of hit or miss. But at least that's still going to be on the free agency wire. So really, nobody to just go out there and hit up on the waiver wire. I mean, you really got to do your homework if you're in desperate need for someone.
It's slim pickings out there, especially in the 14 team league I'm in. Like, there's no one. I mean, there's people there, but I don't even know if the team even knows that they're there. Like, guys you've never heard of.
I'm gonna say there's nobody that you want. I saw that Tom Brady is still available, like in uh fantasy football. Of course, well, obviously, if you don't know the situation, then probably shouldn't be playing or listening to the show.
Yeah.
But I just found it funny that he was still there, listed as a Tampa Bay quarterback.
Wow.
Um, I did briefly consider maybe Sam Darnold as a backup because Patrick Mahomes has hardly lightened it up. I mean, the Chiefs are still winning games, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. But from a fantasy football perspective, Patrick Mahomes isn't exactly lighting it up.
No, he's
So,
middle of the pack.
yeah, I considered maybe just because I got an extra roster spot and probably will have another after sometime this week. I was like, maybe go get Darnold, but then I decided not to because I feel like he's going to struggle against the Jets this week. I think the Vikings will probably still win or maybe should. It's the NFL. I mean, you never know. But I don't think we're going to see the same numbers from Sam Darnold this week. I mean, that Jets defense is a good defense. So,
Yeah.
that a fair take, or would you still roll the dice on him?
Man, I would roll the dice on him until he shows me, or until he gives me a reason not to.
Yeah, it's hard to justify though having two quarterbacks on your roster if you're in a 10-team league. It's just really there's no sense in it, especially when Patrick Mahomes is your starter. Like you're not going to
Yeah.
bench Patrick Mahomes for Sam Darnold.
Unless unless your backup's like a shoe in for your starters bye week. That's the only reason to have a second quarterback.
And I believe the Chiefs bye week is week 6. So if you are going to pull, I'm going to sit here and talk myself into maybe adding him, just going ahead and pulling the trigger on that because that is one good thing about having some spots that you need to fill is like, okay, you can go add
Yeah.
that quarterback if you need to. You can go add a secondary defense if there's one that's a standout defense. I considered adding the Bills, but I'm glad I didn't because they didn't look good against Baltimore. Uh, Bills looked like the best team in the. It's typical Bills. I mean, we talked about it last week. This is the same old story from the Bills. The first month of the season, they look like the best team in the league, and then they have a game like they did on Sunday night against the Ravens, where it was just all Baltimore. But Derrick Henry, by the way,
Yeah, old Jerry Jones is really kicking himself in the butt on that one.
like now he went and got Zeke. We can't afford him. We can afford you can afford to pay everybody else except Derrick Henry. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And you paid Zeke instead. Yeah, that's a typical Jerry move there. But to
Yeah.
be that big and be that fast, to have that breakaway speed, like it's crazy, man.
What? How many yards did he have? Like 198 yards. Like he's only a
Uh,
couple of yards short of breaking the 200 mark for like his seventh time in his career.
he's pretty close to 10,000 career yards. I think him and Zeke both are actually. I think
No
both.
way.
I mean, dude, Zeke's been around for a long time. He was a good running back. I mean, he was a really good running back for a 3-4 year stretch.
Wow.
So, I mean, he's been in the league since. Yeah, I think Zeke is coming close to that, but I know Derrick Henry is. And I'm pretty sure Zeke is too. But I mean, yeah, Derrick Henry clearly the better running back of the two. Yeah, two. Where would you if you were starting a team, and we've talked about this before, like just kind of skill positions. If you were starting a team, how many running backs would you take before you ended up picking Derrick Henry? I mean, all time, living, dead, doesn't matter. And you get them in their prime, obviously.
Man. Maybe two.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? It's like the he's
I would
kind of
say,
the
yeah, dude, I don't know, man.
he's like the modern Jim Brown,
Yeah.
really. I mean, to be that big and fast and strong.
Yeah, it's not really fair.
Yeah, you could argue I'm going to take that guy.
Yeah.
I'm still taking Barry Sanders,
Yeah.
but Derek. I mean, Derek Henry. If you're starting a team, like if you, it'd be like you got them lined up, like you're out on the playground and you're picking teams. It's just obvious that you're like, yeah, I want him. I want Derek Henry. I want the guy that's bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody else. Yeah, give me him. Um, I'd still go Barry Sanders, but I'd probably go Derrick Henry too. So he's a top 10 running back already on anybody's list, or should be. So anyway, all right. Going back to Sam Darnold, talking about that a little bit. Who had the NF? Look at the NFC quarterbacks that are either three that are at least 3-1. You got Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, Jared Goff. Of course, we've seen Goff, you know, be a breakout player the last
Yeah.
year, so that's not too surprising. But Baker Mayfield and Jayden Daniels, the rookie, and Jayden Daniels, no, yeah, he's 3-1. But Sam Darnold, a guy that everybody thought was a bust, kind of has figured it out 7 years into the league. And the Vikings are one of two teams that are 4-0. The other is the other 4-0 team is the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's the Kansas City Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings 4-0 after a month of play. Just the way everybody had that, right?
Oh, yeah, that's the way I had it.
Yeah, and here
Yeah.
I am talking. I'm talking myself into going and getting Darnold now. I might actually do that once we get off of this podcast. I might find a way to add him. Still hesitant to drop Rasheed Rice just yet, though. So probably going to hold off on that because if it's something where he could come back in even like 8 weeks, you still want
Come
to
back in time for
probably
playoffs.
yeah you still want to find a way to keep him because McCaffrey will come off the IR the IR eventually. You can just switch those out.
Yeah.
But yeah, uh, Jets, Vikings, Lions, Bucks, Commanders are all at least 3-1. Like I said, Minnesota 4-0. How about Jayden Daniels, by the way?
How about him?
The number one quarterback in fantasy football right now is Jayden Daniels. That doesn't
Yeah.
shock me that much because we saw something similar 10 years ago in Washington with RG3. He was the number one quarterback for a while, and it has to do with his running ability.
I seen or I read over the weekend, or I guess last night, that he's led more scoring drives than he has incomplete passes.
That's a real stat.
That's a real stat.
Now, he does have an 82% completion percentage, Jayden Daniels. After four NFL games, has an 82% completion percentage. Unreal
Yeah.
as a rookie.
Yeah.
And I talked about before the season started, look out for Washington. Like, look out for the Commanders. Maybe not this year, but down the road, like in the next few years, this is going to be a franchise to watch. New ownership group. They are, and unlike Dan Snyder, it's all in investing on this team, the stadium. I mean, everything about the team is going to be nothing but improvement. And you're seeing it already at quarterback. Get the Heisman Trophy winner playing like this. Unquestionably, of course, who knows what we're going to see by the end of the year or in 5, but it's looking very promising. Like Washington has their franchise quarterback in Jayden Daniels.
If only they would go back to their original name.
Yeah, or
I
just
guess.
something that isn't the Commanders. Like if you don't want to be the Redskins. I mean, I'll say it on the show just because it's what they were called forever.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just I don't. It's just what we grew up with, and so I don't know. It's really kind of a lame mascot name if you think about it. I'm cool with you wanting to do something else, but Commanders isn't my favorite choice either.
Yeah.
It wasn't theirs. It wasn't their top choice. Arkansas State made it difficult for them to select Red Wolves. I knew that. But yeah, if you want to come up with a different name, I'm fine with that too. But either way, that's a franchise that's on the rise. Whether they're the Commanders or or the Washington football team, whatever they want to call themselves, it's definitely a franchise on the rise and one to look out to keep an eye on as the years. I can't talk over the years to come. Like I'm maxing out after 40
Yeah.
minutes. We're so used to just a 40-minute show, but we're still coming at you with bonus material here. Anything to add in fantasy football, Brad? Before we
No,
run,
just damn them Jets this past weekend. They screwed me.
yeah, that's not a good week to. I like Garrett Wilson, but not a good week to start him. I don't know what Brees Hall has
And
done.
and of course, everyone on my bench except for the one receiver I've been trying to unload since the season started went off. Like I could have literally plugged anyone else in my lineup in those two spots and would have won by like 25.
You're just gonna leave us hanging. You're not gonna tell us who it was that went off.
I'd have to look at
You don't
them,
even know
but
who it was.
it was Tennessee's running back. I had Pickens on the bench. He
Tony
put up
Pollard.
like, yeah, I had Pollard, Pickens. I had Kirk on the bench, Christian Kirk. He had a good game. And
Also had Christian Kirk on the bench, but he was just terrible
and
first
and
2 weeks.
McConkey. McConkey had like 14 points
He had 17 in mine. Yeah,
or 17. Yeah. Like, and I could have literally plugged anyone else in available and still won that.
You could have, but hindsight's always 2020. I wanted to plug McConkey in this week, but he's on a bye this week.
Yeah.
We have a lot of the same players. Yeah, I have Christian Kirk will be starting this week though. Watch him go back to like how he's played in the first 2 weeks of the season.
He's their number one receiver. There's no reason why he should not be getting 13 points minimum every week.
Yeah, but the Jaguars are 0-4 and
Dude.
Trevor Lawrence's numbers haven't been terrible, or at least from a touchdown to interception ratio, but the yardage and all that isn't there, and certainly the points. It's been very disappointing.
Yeah.
But the first 2 weeks of the season, no, Christian Kirk was droppable. I did drop him. And then I picked him back up because then he had a pretty good, he scored like 19 points or something, or 16. And I was like, okay, he's back. That's the guy I thought he was going to be. And so I added him, and now he's starting for me this week because I'm just devastated by injuries, especially at wide receiver. All right, we're waking up a little bit in this part 2 of the episode, but we'll basically kind of get out of here on this. MLB Wild Card round started today, so the MLB regular season officially over. The Dodgers ended the regular season with the most wins. I believe the Chicago White Sox actually did set the single season record for most losses in a season in MLB history. I believe that happened a few days ago.
Yep.
So congratulations to the White Sox on that one. My St. Louis Cardinals did finish the year. They didn't make the playoffs, but they at least were 4 games over 500. They finished second in the Central, tied second in the Central with the Chicago Cubs. So that's what it is there. But that's been the Brewers division now for the last several years. I'll tune in I'll tune in as soon as I can sit down and watch some baseball. At least the Phillies, at least. Playoff baseball is always fun, and the Phillies are my team after the Cardinals, so I look forward to watching them. I'm gonna check up on some of that, just some of the scores there. Who was it? Was the Mets and somebody earlier? Mets and Brewers, maybe.
Yeah, Mets and Brewers, and I want to say the Mets won that game.
Well, I'm trying to get to the scores, and it wouldn't let me do that. Okay. I didn't even realize Detroit was in it. Detroit beat the Astros 3-1. Kansas City, Bobby Witt Jr. and company beat the Baltimore Orioles 1-0. Mets beat the Brewers 8-4. Padres beat the Braves, shut out the Braves 4-0. So getting interesting. I know the Yankees are back in it, so anytime the Yankees are in it, it's at least going to be interesting, whether you're rooting for them or rooting against them.
Yeah.
But playoff baseball is here. Playoff baseball is over in Arkansas. Like I said, again, congratulations, Arkansas Travelers, Texas League champions 2024. All right, so I got nothing else. So
What? You ain't gonna talk about the other big news in Major League Baseball?
what was the other big news?
Pete Rose passed away yesterday.
You're right about that. I didn't even have that on the topic list. We lost two. One, the all-time hit king, Pete Rose,
Yeah.
passed away yesterday. I mean, he was in it. How old was he?
83.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it was that's a good life in my book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he's pretty much who our dads grew up watching.
yeah, no, pretty much.
Yeah.
I
He
I
is.
remember,
He is the baseball player
I
from their
remember my
generation.
Papa Jack telling me just about Pete Rose and how he could pretty much place the ball wherever he wanted to at the plate.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, all-time hit king. Only 2 players ever with over 4,000 base hits. Pete Rose and Ty Cobb. Now, if you want to combine, what he did in Japan, you can throw Ichiro in there. But as far as Major League Baseball goes, only 2 players have had 4,000 hits, and Pete Rose had more than anyone. All right. I kind of hate to do this, but everybody's doing it anyway, so we might as well. Does Pete Rose belong in the Hall?
Yeah, he does. But he broke one rule. There's no question he belonged.
But if you had the choice, if it were up to you, if you were the commissioner, would you have reinstated Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame?
Me? Yeah, I would have. He bet on his team to win. I mean,
Yes, he didn't like shave points, but he could have left a starter in too long in order to get that win. You it goes both ways.
I know.
I'm nothing but the utmost respect for his ability as a ball player, Pete Rose, that is, and his effort that he gave. I mean, his head first slides, like stealing bases and just beating a throw at home. I mean, it's iconic photo stuff. But he did the one thing that would keep him out.
One
He did
thing.
the one thing that would keep him out. And I'm fine with the commissioner at the time's decision. And I don't, you hate it, but at the same time, it's what it is. You
What it
know,
is, man. He's gonna be infamous with the Hall of Fame. His name's gonna live on for as long as the Hall of Fame goes on because there's always gonna be somebody. Oh, you know who's supposed to be in here and not Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe, freaking Barry Bonds. It's
it's like
like,
the list goes on forever at this point with the steroid era or HGH era is really what it is. Um, but it's Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, Roger Clemens. I mean, those are Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa. Those are all Hall of Fame baseball players, but they never will be, and that's wild. But at the same time, you you want to set a standard for you break the rules. This is what happens. Ken Griffey Jr. is in because one Hall of Fame talent, one of the greatest ever, and was never linked to steroids. So, but then again, like David Ortiz linked to steroids, he's in. I don't know, but he's a lot more likable than A Rod is too, or at least was certainly in the playing days.
yeah. A-Rod just had to do those steroids, man. I've got 4 A-Rod rookie cards that are gonna be worthless. They are worthless.
I don't know if they're worthless, but they're not what you thought they were going to be worth.
And I remember making a trade to one of my friends. Hey, I'll give you this A-Rod rookie card because I had so many of them. And I'll trade you for that Mark McGuire. Yeah, we both lost. Both lost on that deal.
I, I mean, as a Cardinals fan, I could see the intrigue there, but I think I'd still rather have the
I
A
have
Rod.
I bet I have 30 Mark McGuire cards. Probably have
Um,
about the same Sosa cards.
Mine are King Griffey Jr. cards. Like I have a plethora of King Griffey Jr. cards, and I will never give any of them up. I've got a ton of Michael Jordan cards. I've got a ton of King Griffey Jr. cards,
I've
and
got a sweet Michael Jordan card.
I'm not giving any of the King Griffey Jr. I'm not giving any of those away. Like they're like three things that I three like item type of things in my possession. I mean that's I'll never give up. Everything else can go. It's replaceable. Um, Probably like my race stuff. Never get rid of that.
All thousands of items of your race stuff. You're just gonna say one thing,
Kind of
categorize one
yeah.
thing.
I
Yeah.
actually did almost like get rid of like the 5K like participation medals. Like I almost did it, and my dad talked me out of it. He said that's like where you got your start. Like, you don't need to get rid of that. My dad, of all people, talked me out of it. I was like, yeah, you're right. So I won't. But that's probably something else I can't even think of right now. And like my sports cards. But and most of them are baseball cards. But I have football and basketball too. But I'll never get rid of those. Yeah, they're sitting in a dry, cool spot in a protected plastic bin, in a closet. So, and that's probably where they'll stay. But yeah, I'll never get rid of them for as long as I live, unless somebody was like, "Hey, well, I'll give you, $10 million for that." And I'll say, "Okay, here
Sure.
you go."
Take it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I would never. I have from 88 to 92. I have the entire you know
Box
box.
set.
Yeah, the box set of Topps baseball cards from 88 to 92. I've got 4 stacks of them, sealed, never been opened,
Yeah.
um, sitting in that box. Yeah, and on another note, talking about basketball, also lost to Dikembe Mutombo.
No, 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 no.
Yeah. Another legend lost there. So rest in peace to both of those gentlemen, Dikembe Mutombo, Pete Rose.
And,
Uh,
and for any American Picker fans out there, Frank died yesterday, apparently.
I saw that too. Saw that on my Yahoo feed today.
Yeah.
They come in threes, they say. So hopefully that's it. Um, yeah. So that completely crossed my mind. So I'm glad you brought it up. All right. What else did I forget before we get out of here?
I think that about covers it this week. So
Rock on. Well, since we had a part two, we could take our time a little bit. Still had a pretty good length of time. Ended up talking about stuff I didn't think we talked about, baseball cards, etc. But what time do you have to get up for work tomorrow, Brad?
6 o'clock.
Gross. I don't have to work tomorrow, so I'm going to sleep in and enjoy it. I do plan to run a half marathon tomorrow. Oh yeah, I did say I would give updates on how I'm doing
Yeah,
with
how's that going?
I am 2 in. I have 2 of my 10 half marathons done. I was going to do number 3 last Wednesday. It was a perfect day for it. It was a beautiful day out. And then I ended up getting, I assume, that 24-hour bug because I realized 2.5 miles in, I was in trouble. All right, it's about to get very graphic. So I'm over by the high school. You know where I live and where it is compared, it's near to the high school. If you're driving, if
Yep.
you're running, it's different. Okay,
Well,
so I'm probably 3/4 of a mile from home. Or no, at the time I was probably a mile and a half from home. And I realized I felt something rumbling. I was like, okay, I probably need to at least be closer to the house. Like it wasn't an emergency yet. So I start running home and I get to like the big four, like the four-way stop where that gas station is in Cabot by the high school. And I'm like, okay, it's bad. Like I gotta get home. And I'm like in panic mode, kind of like and there's traffic, and I'm like kind of running like all over the place, and I'm just like I'm like breathing heavier, like I have contractions or something. How I'm breathing,
yeah.
and I'm kind like I said, kind of I'm trying to think like, okay, what's the quickest way to get there because the roads are a little weird at that point. Um, and there's no like clear cut way. You either got to go all the way around, that's the long way, or you go down this busy road. And I was like, I got to go down the busy road. So I do, and I'm about 3/4 of a mile from home, and like it's very iffy on if I'm going to be able to make it. But it just out the corner of my eye, I see a porta potty outside of this church. It's just a green porta potty. And I'm like, if that's open, I'm using it. And I go
Literally a
in,
sign from God.
yes, pretty much. Good Lord was looking out for me there. And it was open, it was pretty clean. And so I sat down and just unleashed something just unholy out of me. I mean, it was like the exorcism where the chick is like, projectile vomiting the green pea looking soup. That's pretty much what was coming out of my ass. Um, there. And it was so bad, like I thought for the first 5 minutes, like I might pass out. Like it like I thought about cracking like opening the door. Like this is how bad it was. So I'm like sitting on a toilet relieving myself, and I thought about opening the door just to get fresh air. I'm not at home. I'm in a porta potty in the middle of
It's
town.
intense. It's intense.
Yeah, fortunately there was enough draft like coming from the bottom to where I could, get some air. And I eventually was like, okay, I'm gonna be all right. But I was in there for a good 20 minutes, I would say at least,
Oh
before
dang.
before I felt like I could like make it home. And that's what happened. I got out. I thought about jogging. I was like, no, I'm done. By then I tapped out. I
Yeah.
tapped. I was like, yeah, we're not doing the Rhino Ultra today. I got 10 weeks. I'll double up a week. Not happening today. And that was a good call because I was not okay for the rest of the, I mean, it was like bedtime before I could like was okay. And I had one of those like that medication I got when we were in Paris, to where I could plug myself up enough to get to the Louvre. I had one of those left, which are great by the way. And so I took it and I was fine after that. But it was like the end of the night before I felt normal again. And the next day, I had like a 4+ mile run because I had the pumpkin run Saturday. I was like, I got to get a really good run in for before that. Had a great run, like the best run of my life because I was completely emptied out and I mean, just had nothing in me. It was bad. It was so bad. So, apart from last week, the Rhino Ultra has gone well. I plan to do a 13.1 mile run tomorrow. That's the plan. So, and it's supposed to be like perfect out. So it should be a great day for it. I can sleep in, I can get up, I can take my time, and then I'll go at some point tomorrow afternoon. So I'll keep everyone posted. Also, I turned 40 Friday, so there's that. Happy birthday to me. And yeah, I'll be 40 years old when you all see me next. So I mean, I don't know. It's not a big deal to me. I still feel pretty good. The pumpkin run, I beat my time by
You
seven
going
seconds from when
will
I
you go into a different age class
uh
after you get 40?
yes. Well, I started in the Grand Prix, which I'm doing this year. You start out the year like you're already put in the age group where you'll finish the year, like what your age is. And I didn't necessarily realize that until I was like looking for my name in the 35 to 39. I was like, where am I? And I was like, oh. And I looked and I'm in that 40-year-old group. But yeah, I am in that 40 to 44-year-old group. I'm currently third, I think, right now, though. So if the season, we got 3 races left, 17 down, 3 to go. I will definitely place. Is if you're top five, then you place and you get a plaque thing. I'm probably going to end up third, which I'm good with that. Be the best, the biggest running accomplishment I've had at 40 years old, so not bad. All right, well, my dog's licking his hot spot, so I got to go, and that sounded dirty, but it wasn't. Uh, so I'm gonna go deal with that, and yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Until then, I'm Grandpa.
Brother Brown.
Deuces, y'all.
Peace.
I got a point this